Go.
Good morning.
Good
Today
morning.
is May 18, 2013. My name is Mark Anderson. I am conducting an oral history interview at Christ Episcopal Church in Waukegan, Illinois with Mr. Bennie R. Hale.
Correct.
Ben, would you please state your name and address for the record?
Bennie R. Hale, Hale, and I'm at 2924 North Lewis Avenue, Waukegan, 60087, Illinois.
Okay. Thank you. Like
Sure.
I mentioned earlier, it's a pleasure and an honor to be spending this time with you.
Thank you.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted, Navy.
Where were you living at the time?
Well, I was living in Alabama.
In Alabama. Is that where you grew up?
That's
Is that
where I
you were
was born and raised. Yes.
Why did you join?
Thought it was a call to be there for my service. And furthermore, I didn't want to go in the Army. So I elected to go in the Navy for 4 years and opposed to 2 in the Army. My father, an older brother, was in the Army. I didn't know it at the time, but one of my other 2 brothers was in the Navy. I didn't know it at the time. They lived in California. And after I enlisted or went in, then I found out that they had been in there. So I was in the Navy. Liked it very well.
So you had a history of service in your family.
Oh yeah, my father, oldest brother, sure. Uncles, aunts, sure.
And you touched on why you picked the branch that you chose, the Navy, because you wanted to serve for 4 years?
Yes, and opposing to 2 in the Army. I think it was the time, I think it was Army was 2, and I wanted to serve my country.
How old were you when you enlisted?
18, I think. Yes, 18, excuse me.
Do you recall your first days in service?
Absolutely. I was sworn in at Birmingham. I was born and raised in Montgomery. Sworn in at Birmingham, Alabama, and from there we took a plane ride, seemed like forever, to San Diego Naval Training Center at the time. And we took basic training there. Got fitted for uniforms and all kinds of stuff.
Did you enlist with some buddies, some guys you knew?
No. My buddies I was going to enlist with had gone on 2-3 months before. And somehow our wires got crossed, and when I went in later, 2-3 months or so after that, it was called the Buddy Pass. They gave me that benefit, though.
What was that now? A buddy pass?
Yeah, there's a Buddy Pass that you go in at the same time, if I remember correctly, and you get out at the same time, and you can serve, I think, this together. If you go in together, it's called a Buddy Pass. I think I'm correct.
Is that right?
I'm quoting that correctly, I think. You and I go in as a Buddy Pass. We are then pretty much mandated to stay in the same outfit throughout, or the same ship or whatever.
Okay. So even though the guys that you were kind of connected with and buddies with went in a couple months early, you ended up connecting with them?
No, couldn't, because they was in ahead of me. They were in a couple
not.
months ahead of me. I could not.
I see.
Yeah.
What did those first days of service feel like?
It felt very bittersweet.
Was it exciting?
It was bittersweet. It was exciting one few moments, and then it was, fire and brimstone the next. It was very intense, very eye-opening, but at the same time very rewarding.
We were in a time of combat?
I was in there, yes, but I didn't see actual combat. I was in the era, Korea, Vietnam. Last part of Korea and Vietnam was 55. Hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about your boot camp training experiences? You said that was in San Diego?
It was in San Diego, yes, California, and that was our company was company 499. It was a large volume of people there, and we all went through intense training, drilling, calisthenics, marching, washed our own clothes, things of that nature.
So
Learn how to be self-sustaining.
So physical training
Yes,
and sounds like in a sense maturity training.
yes, absolutely. All of those involved in one. Yeah, physical training, agility, learning how to take care of oneself, your own clothes, your own surroundings, your lockers, and so forth. Excuse me.
You appear to be a man who's always been in pretty good shape.
Well, I try to be.
Were you
I try to be.
were you prepared for the physical demands of
I
training
don't.
camp?
I don't think so. I thought, and we as people in the company thought we was in good shape and we could do this, that, and the other till we got out there and we did so many calisthenics and so much stuff till, it was just taxing. It's just sore. And you just, and the next day we get up and do the same thing. After a while, then that disappeared. The soreness and all of that, kind of went away.
What sort of calisthenics did you guys do? Lots and lots of
Push-
push-ups.
Yeah, we did push-ups. We did push-ups with the rifles. We did push-up, body push-ups, laying flat and knuckle down and bending and push-ups like that. Laying flat and coming up, touching the toes and that kind of stuff.
How many are we talking? Push-ups in a row? Would they?
Oh God, just about intermittently all day.
Okay.
But we have breaks. Excuse me. We also then would go through the pool. You have to qualify to jump off the tower. I think it was a 40 and a 20-foot tower to learn how to get off the pool. Because they say you're not going to swim the ocean anyway, should you be on a ship or a sub. And it goes down, you're taught to swim. And we had to swim the parameter of a pool, indoor pool. And you got to qualify to do that. And we had to, in jumping, do special techniques to get in and out of the water. We have to jump with life jacket on and without, and you swim around the perimeter of the pool. You do it till you qualify.
Do you have some gear with you as well, or?
Not those during those times. No, we just had we were taught to jump without a life jacket, and then you put on one to see the difference, to make the comparison. 40-foot, 20-foot, and then we jump from the floor level in the water to get the experience of what that's like. And the tallest one is, it seems, young kid going in, seems taller than actually it was. Seems like we were on Empire State Building. Well, it's the Willis Tower now. Seemed like we were there jumping off. We thought, oh my God, it's this high. It doesn't look like it when you're there, but when you're up there to come down, it's something. But doing as instructed by the instructor worked out well. Mm-hmm.
Were any calisthenics or training sessions harder as a result of reprimand or punishment or testing you mentally?
It was hard because we didn't know what we were doing, but it was revealing later on after we've gotten to do them and we realized what that's about, that we be able to carry our own body weight and gear and maybe a person if need be, if not carry them far, but be able to drag them should the need arises. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you were broken down a little bit psychologically, mentally?
No, I don't. I may have been, but I don't feel that I was. I felt that enhanced me. It was an eye opening.
There was a reason for all of it. There was
yeah,
a purpose.
Yeah, it was an eye opening. It's a reason for all of this stuff. We didn't see it at the time, but if you're there with a buddy, you learn to pull him out of harm's way, or be pulled out of harm's way by the buddy. So we had the same basic training throughout.
So it sounds like it strengthened you individually as a person.
Yes.
Physically
and
reliant and maturity wise, like you were
Sure.
saying, but also taught you to a sense of teamwork and
Oh,
looking
yes.
out for and helping your buddies and the guys you were with.
Very much teamwork. Yes, very much teamwork. Sure, that's very accurate. Excuse me.
Did the training experiences, that time in San Diego, the calisthenics, the psychological awareness, the growth, the time in the pool, did all that prepare you well
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, very well, very well.
for what you did when
For
you
what we
served?
did, yes, on ships, and we fought fires, oil fire, gas fires, and go in the building without the mask and come out with it, or we go in with the mask on in the fire engulfed building and take it off to see what the gas felt and smelled like. You get that experience to know what it's like when you got to go in another compartment and retrieve somebody or close it off so that there won't be a major explosion or sometime. You probably not old enough to remember the Bennington that caught fire. I was on leave then. That thing caught fire, and it was all hands on, and everybody worked in unison as a team to help one another. And if you can't contain the fire, you close off the compartment with the hatches, close it off. And it was smothered because it doesn't have oxygen.
So was this a unique special responsibility for you and how you served, being
Everybody,
for everybody,
yes. We
learning
all
how
did
to
that.
deal with the fire?
Yes.
Everyone who's going to serve on a ship.
Yes. On a ship or on the stations, you went through that same training because you got to know how to combat fires, different nozzles, and, different ways to combat fires.
Mm-hmm.
Oil, gas, like that, regular explosions.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Mm-hmm. That way, if we get the universal training, everybody gets the training. You can't say, well, you're going to be on this ship here. Well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to man this nozzle. I don't know how to do that. You got the same training for everyone, basically.
You and everybody needed to learn every responsibility
Yes.
of every ship.
Yes. The basic, yes, you're right, the basics. And we can go from there. You may vary a little bit, but it won't be that much. You will have gone through some of these things. They're pretty intense. It's just a matter of getting familiar with your immediate surroundings should you get on another vessel, because you know the fundamentals.
Do you remember your instructors?
Yeah, I remember one. Yes, I do. Helped us to grow emotionally, physically, psychologically, whatever way you want to put that. Bosun mate E.M. Toland, and he was a 26-year veteran. Looking at his picture the other day, and he had 6 gold stripes on his arm. Each stripe on the hash mark, we call it, on the arm is 4 years. I think he had 6. And the stripes was gold, and the hash marks was gold, which signifies good conduct. Quite a man.
So you remember him affectionately, it
Quite
sounds like.
well. I wonder what happened to him, but I'm sure the man's gone now. But he was quite instrumental in all of our training. Yes.
How did you get through it?
Very carefully. No, I got through it. I think that as did many people, got through it by doing as was commanded to do, according to the protocol. Stick with the established protocol, not to deviate without somebody, because there's somebody always there that's instructed. So we got through it by doing as was suggested, commanded. You deviate and make a mistake, then that can be costly for your oneself as well as squad or team or whole ship. Yeah.
How you doing here, Ben? Do you need
I'm
to
doing
get up
fine.
and
No,
move
I'm
around
good.
a little bit?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you've mentioned, which war did you serve in?
I was post-Korea, pre-Vietnam.
Where exactly did you go?
all over the world.
Spend any excessive amount of time or any more time in one place than another?
I don't, well, at sea, but one specific place was Japan. We were all over Japan and we stayed, but we would only be 2, 3 weeks or maybe a month and get supplies and go back out. So geographically, I can't say we stayed in one place 9 months or like that.
You guys kept moving.
We stayed moving, and we would get out and do what we had to do, and we set out there a lot of times out in the middle of nowhere, ocean, monitoring, doing what we had to do. Should we called upon to do more, we were there.
Is there a reason you kept moving like that so that you weren't stagnant or?
Yes, there was a reason for moving like that because we had to be there, visible, and to provide assistance with others that might need it. And that was what was requested from our commanding officers, president on down.
What was your job assignment?
My job assignment was a commissariman. I would buy and dispense food, supplies, and stuff. And I was also a fire control tech on the ship. Daytime, I did commissary stuff, ordering supplies and foods, and mandated time when we'd have all hands working party, we call it. We'd order supplies of food to fill our parking lot out there. And then we have when we get it all orchestrated, then we let our chief know, chief warrant officer, ensign, lieutenant, commander, and the captain know, and we'll set a date according to the geographic location that we're in, and the aerographers set up a belief about the weather, that we'll have an all hands working party, and that's everybody on the ship to load in all the stores that we had from the land. Now another all hands working party we would have was when we would go to other places and we needed to bring forth ammunition, gunpowder and stuff. That's a little different because if you're bringing forth gunpowder and ammunition, it's every few minutes it's broadcast on the PA system. Now hear this, the smoking lamp is out throughout the ship. The smoking lamp is out throughout the ship. Smoking lamp is permission to smoke. If you have a small amount of gunpowder, that can ricochet from here to like firecrackers. You've seen fireworks, those little stems on firecrackers. Well, little particles like that will ignite and you don't see it, and it'll blow that room over, and then that blows something else in a domino effect. So therefore, now hear this, all hands throughout the ship, the smoking lamp is out throughout the ship because people do forget. And you're handling ammunition and stuff, that's can be a costly forget.
You mentioned that you didn't see combat. You mentioned that you did not see combat, but being a fire control tech, having the potential for a dangerous situation on board, resulting from what you just discussed, tension on deck, all fire lamps out all over, and bringing on gunpowder and ammunition. Were there many or any casualties in your unit, or times when you had to put into action your training as a fire control tech?
No. We had people that was wearing these asbestos gloves when we would do firing. We'd fire those big guns, and those asbestos gloves would be here to grab the shell and the expend shells, you know, this big around that long. When they come out of the gun, you grab them, and a few people got burned as a result of catching those shells and passing them on to people, domino effect. But as far as explosion like that, I can't recall any that had happened. Other than that, you know, even though you got on asbestos gloves up to here, you still feel that heat when you take that shell out or when it's ejected. You know, those big shells, they're big shells.
And those were fired for training exercises?
They were fired. They were fired, yes. Yes. We fired on land, not on land, we fired on sea and fired at drones in the air. Mm-hmm. Get the experience and we smell the gunpowder and all that stuff. It's a cloud when you fire those guns, those big guns.
How big are they?
Them, 8, there's I think 20, 40 millimeters, 8-inch guns and beyond. When you fire them, the gun ship just goes sideways, not like a shotgun, boom, like that. It goes sideways. Mm-hmm. And we wear earmuffs, earplugs.
Sure.
Yes.
You remember that smell?
You never forget that smell. You never forget that smell. The smell of gunpowder, you never forget that smell. It stays. It stays. Plane crashes and, you know, people are burned. I think one time, I don't know where, I can't remember, we had to go and retrieve portions of things happening with the plane went down. You know, we're not attached emotionally, but
in
we
the
are
ocean?
attached on the end of barely on land. You know, so we had to retrieve some of that stuff on land. And you never forget the smell of powder, never forget the smell of burning flesh, etc. As I said to Chuck downstairs, you were there, whether you were actively involved, but you were there if needed. You had the training to undergo whatever you needed to do. You already trained. You need somebody, you go over there and do that. You don't have to try and retrain them. They're already trained. Excuse me.
Can you share a couple of your most memorable experiences while you were serving during that active time?
Yeah, marginally, we went down through some areas that was pretty tense and through the basic part of Vietnam, and we saw just about well, not everybody, we saw a lot of enemy planes that would come through, Russia, China, you know, like that, they would zoom down and we could see the markings because it was just so close. When we went in, it was just a close place. It's very close, kind of like, I never went, but they said like going through the Suez Canal. It's such a narrow channel, and you look up and you thought, oh my God, nobody fires. Nobody fires. Stay on your gun mounts. Relieve one at a time. Do not fire. Do not fire. That was one of the most tense ones you could see, and you could just see people sweating and carrying on because it was very tense. You don't know, well, we're not going to fire, but we don't know if anyone else is going to fire on us. Fire when you are commanded to fire. Do not fire. Rest easy. They say all kinds of things to get the message over. Because I may say to you, do not fire. You may not hear, do not. Mark, do not fire. Mark, do not fire. All you heard was fire.
Mm-hmm.
So do not fire. Remain in your position. Do not shoot. They repeat that a lot of times like they did with the smoking when the ammunition is being loaded. Now hear this, all hands, smoking lamp is out throughout the ship. I say, the smoking lamp is out throughout the ship. Just in case you sneeze or something, you didn't hear. Now hear this, smoking lamp is, you know, so they repeat it 2 or 3 times. Yes, that's tense.
And this is 18, 19, 20-year-olds?
Yeah, and older. There were a lot of people, career people that was there. But you get indoctrinated to that too.
But your training prepared you.
Yeah, your training prepared you, and when you got on the ships, we're going to go through this area. You will see such and such, and you're with a well-indoctrinated person that's been there 2 or 3 years and has seen it, and either going to stay and make a career or they're going to get out, but they'll orient you to what's going to transpire with untie and we'll push off from here for a little bit. You might feel a little woozy. If not, fine. If you do, such and such. We're going to fire. This is what will happen. Clouds of smoke big as this parking lot are bigger, you know, in some instances. They shoot all them guns at once, you just don't hear nothing for a while. You learn to kind of read lips and kind of know what you do, know what to do. It's expected.
So you were never the focus of any fire then from these planes going over?
No, nobody shelled at us. Nobody fired at us. I guess they were getting the same message because we weren't engaging in any activity. But
the U.S. was not officially a part of that war yet?
We was officially a part of it, but we was not officially a part of it. You're here, if need be, we do what we need to do. Don't do it until we hear from you, hear from your superiors as to what to do and when to do it.
And you saw the markings of those planes?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're close enough. You can see them. Oh yeah, you can see them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that's stuck with you all these years?
All the time. Yes, it does.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
Only the good conduct medal. I am disabled because I got hurt on the ship. And I got a rash from being off on the beach, on land or whatever, and I kind of forget about it till now and then. It itches like heck on my legs and feet and like that. I went for an exam. The doctor I said, well, tell me about my shoulder and my back and my nerve damage. And said, well, what about your arms? I said, no, I'm all right. He said, what about your rash? I said, what rash? Excuse me. So you was in the hospital for a long time for this rash. I said, no, that don't bother me. I forgot that I do have a rash that only to me, because I said, well, now, what about my arm, my shoulder? No, he said, no, I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm a dermatologist. I said, oh yeah. Said, but you had some stuff. You was in the hospital a long time for your feet and for your legs, the rash that breaks out on your legs. It's discolored and stuff. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. But it's like heck.
You say that was from foliage?
I think so.
Do you know, was it during one of the recovery processes?
I think I contracted that from part of Vietnam, but Korea too. But I'm not sure. I just know that I got it. And it's not like the foliage that people have gotten from Vietnam being sprayed by the chemical company. I don't know if it was done beforehand or not, but it's there. And they said, when you hit the beach, go on land. Because hit the beach, don't pick up anything. No suspended shells as a souvenir, no intact bullets as a souvenir, none of that stuff. And be careful, because there are areas that may be still active, hot. You do what you have to do, come back and get with your group and go from there.
That still bothers you now?
The rash? Think about it. The rash? Oh yeah, now and then. It hasn't bothered me now. It will now, but it hasn't for weeks or so. But it be aching me cream and stuff like that.
Certain times a year?
Yeah, sometimes, certain times a year, and then many times it's in the winter. And I thought, well, maybe the snow and the coldness would kill the whatever it is. And dermatologist said, no, it ain't that. It's something that you got. I said, well, my wife doesn't have it. Kids. She said, no, it's just for you.
How did you injure your back?
I fell on a hatch in a ship, trying to put some nets up so guys can disembark from the ship. And the three of us fell. I didn't know it. I had nerve damage in my hand and arms too, but I thought I got good maneuverability until I saw the neuro doctor and talked about weakness in here. And I said, oh man, I don't have that. But come to find out I do have it. Denial in the mind is a great thing, sometimes with many of us. Yeah.
The Good Conduct Award, is that for a particular occurrence, a particular act, or an overall character over a period of time?
It's overall characterological for a period of time that, you know, I knew that I was not going to get a bad conduct discharge called BCD, or dishonorable, where you're dishonorable in your country and all of that. So I hanged around with people that I knew was positive, and we had said as a group of us that we formed a relationship on the ships that we're going to go through and do our time and either stay or get out, but we're not going to get it in trouble. Fighting and cutting and shooting and all of that and drugging, I'm not doing that. So I was with a group that said until today, I never drank, I never smoked a cigarette or marijuana or any of that hashish or any of that stuff in my life, and I have no intentions of doing that. So that then entailed me, as well as others, to get a good conduct discharge. Never had a captain's mask, court martial, or any of that stuff. Didn't think that was necessary. I don't need to break the law for anything. I'm here to serve my time and get out. I'm here now, out here to do what I need to do and not create problems for anyone. I believe in living like that. So that was handed down to us from our father, mother, and it followed through when we were in the service.
And you consciously chose the friends you were close with.
Oh yeah.
That had the same.
Oh, absolutely. Same values. Same values and goals as yes. Yeah, we're gonna do the same stuff. We're not gonna get into all that rowdy stuff and, you know, no sense in that.
Still doing good, Ben?
I'm good. I'm good. Sure.
Did you stay in touch with your family while you served?
Oh, all the time, yes.
How
yes.
so?
By letters. Or sometimes we'd have a telecommunication set up on the ship and we'd call people, call various people, friends, relatives on the phones. Sure. Oh, yeah. And we involved ourselves in church too, on the ship as well as on the base. Basic training encouraged and demanded that you go to church. When you're in basic training, they say you're going to church. We don't care if it's Judaism, Catholicism, Presbyterian, or whatever. You're going to go to church every Sunday. And we all did. Whole company go. And we stayed, followed through with that philosophy. If you hadn't gone to church ever, you're going to start and you'll learn now. That's a beginning. That's a learning experience. Because a lot of people hadn't gone, didn't know anything about it. But I believe in spirituality. I have and I will, always. And that followed through with us too. Excuse me.
So God, the Holy Spirit part of your family, He was right there with you.
Absolutely.
The whole time.
Absolutely.
And your physical, earthly family, you stayed in touch with letters.
Yes.
Weekly letters?
Oh yeah, as much as possible. Sometimes we didn't get letters for 3 or 4 weeks, or maybe 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a month.
Guys look forward to that quite a bit.
Look forward to mail call. Yes, look forward to it. We get care packages, as you call them now, care packages.
That was a good day.
Excellent day. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Communication is a good and a two-way street, and let our parents know how we're doing, what we're doing, kind of peripherally, how we're doing, what we're doing. We're in this country today, and we're having a nice time, and sun shining bright, and so forth. As much as we can get graphically, we're not going to get in detailed stuff. And then coming back, how is Joe, and how is such a one, and Aunt Sue, and whatever, which is a follow-through. It's a flow-through for us.
Can you imagine then if they would have had the technology they do now, and you would have been able to maybe talk to the folks at home on a computer and see them, and that makes you smile. Just thinking about that makes you smile.
Yes, it does. Fascinating to have the Skypes and things now that they have. Oh, you can see the people that you're speaking with. Yeah, very much. Technology has come a long way.
Children that are born.
Yes, yes, yes. Very nice. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that the veterans now that are out there are able to see that and see little Johnny and little Sue grow up as they, day by day can do those things. See mom and dad, you can talk to the children, so forth. Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm.
What was the food like?
Excellent, excellent. We ate very well. 3, 4, 5 meals per day. You get hungry, you go eat. You wake up in the morning, you go eat if you want to eat. There was potatoes every day, every meal, in some form or another. In the morning, maybe potato cakes or maybe corned beef hash and potatoes, but there's potatoes every day, every meal.
Is that still a part of your diet now?
That's still, no, I don't too much of potato. Now and then, but no, I can't. We have mashed potatoes or French fries or
You had your
fries
fill
or
then?
something. I had my fill then, yes. I'll eat potatoes now, but that was I saw that and I see it now as being a staple. Very good. The food was good.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Oh yeah, we had everything we needed. Everything we needed. Movies.
Recreational
Yeah,
stuff, eh?
yeah, we could show movies, recreational stuff, movies, basketball court on the ship.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Lots of movies.
Competition? Athletic competition?
Not so much athletic competition with basketball because people just would go down and use the weight room or shoot a few hoops. But we had a boxing team. There were 2 or 3 people. One of the guys was a petty officer and he liked boxing, and they would go, and I never saw it, but they say he was pretty good. Guy from Philadelphia, say he was pretty good at boxing, and a lot of people would go and see that. But we listened to records and write letters, wash clothes. Wash our clothes and stuff and stay abreast of things.
How much downtime during the day?
Pretty good bit. We worked on just like anybody would. We worked during the day, and you'd have watches to stand guard and stuff on ships at night, and your turn to drive the ship or to be a lookout or whatever. And then when you're off, you're off. We would do that, and if we were sitting out there in the ocean somewhere, well, life goes on, just as if it would be at home.
Outside of the instance that you described earlier, with the planes going overhead, did you feel pressure or stress as part of your time serving on the ship?
Did I feel pressure or stress on the
Was
ship?
it stressful? It's
It's very stressful at times, not all the time, but it's very stressful at things that come up that we have to do, and we don't know what those things are until we have begun to do them. The last minute briefing is when we've gone to start to do the things that we're going to do. It's stressful. We don't know what's coming off here.
And you were kind of between eras, like you said, Korea and Vietnam. And was there speculation about, are we going to be in combat? What's going to happen? Where are we going to go? Is that going
to always? We get a little synopsis of the news at that time, and we would leave. We'd leave and go out. We don't know where we're going. We just know that we had to go out and do whatever we had to do with the things that we needed to have.
So there was a stress
of
not knowing.
Stressful of not knowing. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
But not necessarily. When I say stress, I want to make a differentiation here. I'm not saying there was a fear. Or was there?
Could have been some of both. It was stressful knowing and not knowing what's going on in the field, that maybe this is it. Maybe, and we get prep talks from the chaplains and from the person that's in charge, Chief Warrant Officer, and say, fellas, this is what we got to do, and da-da-da-da. We'll all be here together and we'll all do this. Well, we're stressed. We don't know what's coming off. And we're tense, and we think, well, we gotta do this. We're all in this together. So we kind of pulled each other up psychologically.
It bonded.
Yes, very much so.
And you felt prepared.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Was there anything special that you had or that you did for good luck?
Just pray. Just believe in God and believe in the will of God, whatever that is going to happen, it's going to happen. And we just want to stay psychologically and physically prepared to be ready for whatever comes. We're not going to take foolish chances and do stuff. We're going to do what's expected and requested of us to do without taking the chances. If you don't see or know, don't do anything. The old philosophy, don't shoot till you see the white of his eye. You heard that somewhere in school. You know, if you're not sure, don't do. And, you know, we had courses even now after out of service. People have gun classes and all. If you don't know what's there and behind that shot, don't take the shot. Because you may shoot at a rabbit or a pheasant up here, but over there, if you miss, what's that shot going to hit?
Don't even take the safety off or have your finger on the trigger.
No. No. That's contrary to what it is now. People come by and shoot in a house and whatever, and I can't really grasp that concept, but that's another story. But no, we did what we had to do, and we were ready for whatever we thought for whatever might have transpired, and came out okay. People that's done it before us and would give us lectures on what to expect and this and that and the other.
You said prayer is what you held for
Many of us.
for luck or for comfort. Did you have an item, a cross,
No, I didn't have
a book?
cross. We had books, magazines, and Bibles. We didn't have cross. We didn't have very much metal and stuff. But we knew that was contraindicated in some instances.
I see. So no specific physical item that you kept with you or held on to, or
no. Some of the people at that time couldn't wear glasses. They could wear the kind you got, but they probably couldn't wear them. They could wear with the black rim. You've seen these Superman glasses, black rim, and this thing is black around it because it doesn't glow. Now that would glow like yours just did now when the light hit it, it flashed. So therefore with this stuff, it would show, and we weren't allowed to wear that too much. We wear black. You've seen them in the services, these Casio watches, black flakes, black band, or some of them have a little flap that goes over them. So,
okay.
So you can see that, and you get 10 or 15 men killed with the flash. And no smoking. No smoking. You can see us light a cigarette from here to the lake down there. Even though it's small, you can see that.
That ember glowing.
Light your face right up, and you can see the little red light. Yeah.
You mentioned some of the things on the ship, records, exercise rooms, basketball court, boxing facilities. Were there ever entertainers
No.
that came?
We out at sea. No, we didn't. We'd have that indoor on land, on bases, but we are out at sea and we self-sustained. We had our own movies and stuff like that. We don't have no entertainers. You know, I think you're thinking like Bob Hope and a group like that. That was inland on the bases and stuff. We'd have that. We'd have various people to come, but not out on the ships on the water.
What did you do when you were on leave?
Oh my God, what did I do? Went to movies, ate some, as they say, decent food. We had good food, but people would say, we'll eat some decent food. We ate all kinds of, as they say, gee-dunk stuff. And Twinkies and Ho-Hos. We had that, but we had more like cinnamon rolls stuff. Our baker was excellent baker, making with cinnamon rolls and stuff. And we'd eat these that would come from Hostess. We would do that, and we would get us some nice pizza, have us some nice wine. We don't have to be looking over our shoulders so
Take
much.
you back home a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Make you feel?
To relax, yeah. I can get around and see some friends, that kind of stuff.
You recall any particular humorous or unusual events?
In the service?
Yeah.
Well, in the service, it was like we just kind of laughed among ourselves about stuff that we've done, silly things and stuff. But none specific that I can nail down. Well, yeah, there was one time we were in Japan, me and a group, and we had come out of a bar or something, and this guy said, "Hey, buddy, say you want to buy some dope? Got a young girl, got a girl. She's a virgin. She's about 8 years old. You want to got some dope, we got some heroin. We looked at each other. We said, get lost. Get lost. Oh no, we got a young girl virgin. She's a cherry. She's a virgin. And so we walked. We didn't get into that. We just walked. Got away from that. And we thought later, oh my God, he's going to pawn off his sister or daughter or somebody 7, 8, 9 years old for prostitution. And then he think, well, if he didn't catch us with that, he'd catch us with dope. God said, remember what we said? Yeah, we did. We ain't going to use dope. We're going to get out of here with a clean, honorable discharge. That kept first and foremost in our minds. Even if it hadn't, we wouldn't have partaken with that. That's really sick stuff. Both of them shooting out. You make you feel good even now. Take this, make you feel good. I feel good already. What make you think I don't feel good? I feel good now. Why would I want to mess with your little sister or your little daughter or your little to feel good? I don't do that. You know, I don't think it's appropriate. I know that it's not Christianly. And also, you know, work the medical field, you mess up somebody's life. These young kids, this 10 years old, 10 years this man had these girls. They were warped for a long time, psychotherapy, you know. But these are the kind of things, I got a little bit away from your question, but I just kind of want to bring a little bit home as well as that too, because it goes on. Sorry I'm coughing so much, but I got a cold. I'm getting over it now. I'm not spreading it. It's going downhill, the cold.
Allergies have been
Yeah.
working me. Something's blowing around out there.
Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit earlier that when I asked about your instructor, and you were speaking of him and your appreciation of the type of man that he was and what he taught you, and seeing and looking recently at a photograph of him and talking about the stripes on his sleeve. Do you have many photographs from that time?
Not very many. I only have a few on the ship that didn't turn out too good because the weathers was, many times the weathers was hazy, cloudy, and like that. But I got some of graduation pictures of my DI, and I got one individual picture of him. We all got that, you know. And I was
What's a DI, Ben? I'm sorry.
Drill instructor. And I was looking at that and I said, oh my God, that's him. What a man. He helped to raise us in essence. Helped to raise us.
So the entire graduating class is in that.
Oh yeah,
that
we got the whole
one.
graduation thing. Got a book of all the stuff that we've done. We had going through basic training, sure. I understand now that you don't have to wash your clothes. They send the clothes out to be washed now. Me and a couple of the old World War II guys, older than I, was sitting there and they said, well, do you know that they don't wash their own clothes now? I said, that's not true. Oh, first class boatman said, it is true, man. I was over there and I said, you kidding me? So some guys came down to the lake and they said, did you guys wash your own clothes? No, we send it out. I said, oh my God, I didn't think that you were fabricating this line about this, but they really don't wash their own clothes now. We had to wash our own clothes, shoes, everything.
Did they get inspected?
Oh, absolutely. Every morning you come, stand in line for inspection, and you will be shaved.
Every morning?
Every morning. You will be shaved, groomed, every morning. The one guy that didn't shave, and he'd shave, and his skin had blotches in it.
Sensitive?
Very, but he'd have these little hematomas all around. He's standing there, and he's bleeding all down, bleeding. So the DI came through. This was on the ship. Guy came through, looked at this. And the officer came, the ensign came and looked. They brought the lieutenant, and they said, everybody stand easy. Called the medical man up. The medical man came and looked at him, said, excuse me, stand that easy, and looked at him and checked him out. He said, this man, ensign, lieutenant, one officer, commander, this man will not shave anymore as long as he's in this man's Navy. Because his skin was so bad, he'd try to shave and he'd cut himself and try to get a good shave. And this man, he was one of the few that I knew of that could grow a beard. This guy was African American, very dark, and he tried, but you know, he cut his skin, you know, he shaved. Well, maybe it's a razor, he get a new razor, maybe he get a this and that. And they said, well, no, we could grow beards and stuff when we were out at sea and overseas. When we came back to the States, we had to be clean shaven, but it had to be groomed, mustache, or you can go a goatee or whatever, but it has to be groomed. But this man is from Brooklyn, and he never shaved anymore. And he had a nice beard, but every day he had to take a comb and try to get those
Groom
try to get those things out, because they set up little plus pockets and stuff.
Keep it well groomed.
Keep it groomed, yeah.
What were the consequences of not passing inspection?
That was kind of bittersweet, because we all had to go and try to get the person in shape, because we all suffered with that.
Everybody. One guy.
One guy. So he's going to shape up or ship out or something. And people usually would get it. And it's usually when it's a time frame, you know, you got 3 minutes to get in there and shave and shower and whatever. You got adequate space to do it. And then you can't do that in that time. Now, you can let the water run over you and brush your teeth and try to shave while you're in the shower and all of that. You'll miss a spot.
So it wasn't on you if you screwed up. It was on everybody. You were putting your whole group out.
Yeah. And if you mess up while you were out there and on the compound, basic training, and you mess up, don't carry your load, we all marched around, and after a while we said, no, somebody said, we're not going to punish this whole company for one so-and-so person. We're going to do him. Put your sea bag on in your rifle, you're going to run around this compound. The compound is from here to the lake and back in the square, somewhat, you know, give or take. Oh yeah, we had to do it. But it was growthful, it was very rewarding. Teach you patience, self-reliance.
Accountability for yourself and others.
Absolutely. My personal opinion, and maybe I'm so biased, but I think that we need more of that now. Because you can look at somebody and they want to know, what are you looking at me for? So, what's wrong? Instead of accepting and giving back. There's no patience that's really a loose cannon. You look at somebody more than a second or two, they want to know what's wrong with you, and then they call your name. They look at you longer than that. It's like, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with me? You don't like me?
Insecurities.
Is it something I did to you?
Fear.
Why are you? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think.
Oh, well, you're entitled to that.
Did you keep a diary, Ben?
No, I didn't keep a diary. I did not.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes. It was bittersweet. I was glad to be going, but then there's another transition. Glad to be going and getting out of the service, leaving a lot of associates, familiar acquaintances, but we would go at different times. You get in and out, and some people re-enlisted and some didn't. But it was good for me. I was wanting to get out and go home and kind of just not follow the regimented regime. Just kind of sleep if I want to, lay and get up if I want to, and that kind of stuff.
A little relief?
Very relieving. Very relieving.
A feeling of pride?
Feeling of pride, but
did?
it's yes, pride for what I felt for my country. But it's a void for the people and for that the situation that's going to take place here now, that I'm going to be out there alone, and are they going to be all right? Am I going to be all right? I shouldn't leave, and you know, that kind of
a what now?
Yeah, that ambivalent feeling when you get out, but still glad. It's bittersweet. That's what I meant when I said bittersweet.
Where were you?
Where was I when I got discharged?
Yeah,
California, Long Beach. Yes.
What did you do in the days and the weeks immediately afterward?
Well, looked for a job. Well, rest a bit and drank some cheap wine with the buddies and so forth. And
Stayed in California or went back
no,
to
no, no. I
Alabama?
went back to Alabama. I stayed in California a little while. My brother, so I got two brothers living there and a cousin that's a PA living there. I stayed for a little while, and I thought I had to go back home and see what it's like there, and went. And home isn't home anymore. People doing it. My daddy said they're doing the same things that they were doing before you went into service, standing on the corner robbing people and drinking wine. And the same persons was not there, but others had taken the place of the ones that had died, been gone to jail or whatever have you, but somebody has gotten in their place doing the same stuff. I still felt like that's not me. There are things to do other than stand on the corner, drink wine, and talk. So I tried and did got a job and progressed from there.
Doing what?
Well, I worked, after I got out, I got a job at the VA. I talked with the HR person. He said, we don't have any regular jobs, but we may have something part-time. I said, yes, I'll take it. Because I was greedy. I liked clothes and shoes. And I said, well, I can wear my jeans, and nothing wrong with them. I wear jeans anytime. I want to have some nice stuff. You know, here again is the pride thing. So I got that job, took that for 3 days. And the man said, you are a vet. He sits like you sit, by the way. He said, Ben, yes, sir. He said, you are a vet. You're service-connected. I said, yeah. He said, we'll see what we can do. That's all he said. So I was working, taking care of the dining room and putting up salt and pepper shakers and all that stuff. And I had put in to go into nursing service. And they said, oh, you want to stay here? So the dietetics chief and assistant chief would come by every day. And all the guys would take a break. I'm convinced that you do what you're supposed to do at the time. Every day they'd pass by. I didn't know, but after a while they stopped observing me, what I was doing. So after a while they upped my days from 2 to, where's the guy supposed to be helping him? He's new, he's a trainee, so to speak. They were taking breaks and smoking cigarettes in the basement and whatever in the building. I was getting things ready for our fellow patients, the vets that come through. So they upped my days from 3 days to 5, which is 2 weeks really. When you look at it the way it's calibrated in the government, it's 2 weeks. I thought, oh, this is all right. So then they said, well, you need to go to nursing service. You sure you want to go? And I said, oh, yeah. So then a couple of doctors had seen and talked to me that had known me from coming through the dining room, because staff could eat on one section and patients on another. And I said, no, I'd rather work medicine or orthopedic. I don't want to work psych. That's exactly where I ended up working. So I went from there to nursing service, and other people that wouldn't take the 2-3 days job still out there, I wouldn't take no 2-3 days and all. I said, well, I'm just crazy, I guess, in my own way. I'll take that. That's better than nothing. I did that. So then I went and got involved in nursing service and got trained by Colonel Smith in the Air Force. Active, came and taught us about psychiatry and all kinds of things. And then I worked with another doctor, C.C. Allen, that I know, I'm sure it's gone on to Mr. Jesus by now. Taught me a few things about psychiatry and all of that stuff. And then I transferred to other VAs. I got 7 under my belt. And I ended up going back to school, and I am a counselor. I retired here not long ago. I'm disabled, and I retired from the government service, and that's it. I hope I answered you.
What was the day like that you got home back to Alabama? Were you staying at home while you were?
Oh no, I stayed at home for a little while. Then after I got that job, I got a room. You could at that time stay on the government premises. The VA had buildings where civilian employees could stay, have a room, and you could get your meals there. They would take out your meals, breakfast and lunch, or breakfast and dinner. They'd take it out. You didn't see the room rent and the food portion would be taken out of your check. You wouldn't see it. When you get your check, everything's paid for. And I thought, this is all right. Saved me from going 40 miles to Montgomery to the hospital and whatever. And I liked that. Stayed there from there. And that was really uplifting for me because that way I could save a little money and so forth. And I could work all them different shifts. I'd work shift from 5 in the morning to 2 and 3 in the morning or 1 in the morning to overlap the shift, getting the patients up and cleaned up and all that stuff.
Sounds like when you got back home, it felt like kind of the same routine there. Nothing. Thank you.
So no, I never, to continue what I was saying, I never been able to hook up with any of the persons that I was in the service with.
That you met after you.
That I met after discharge.
Who was the gentleman who approached you in the airport? Talking about, I know that walk anywhere?
I think that guy name was Drummond. Big tall guy. He had hurt his leg and stuff. And he said, I know that walk anywhere. And he grabbed me from behind. I turned around and said, oh, I know that hair anywhere. You never did get a haircut. Big full head of Elvis Presley kind of hair, but it was brown. You know, we laughed about that. And I talked with him for a little while, and then he went on his way. And I've seen, you know, little synopsis of people a little bit for a minute, but not for any length of time.
Haven't really stayed in.
No contact. No stay in touch. No.
Did you join a veterans organization?
Mm-hmm. I'm a member of DAV. Mm-hmm. I am a life member of DAV. Yeah, I joined that when I was in California, now that I think about it. I'm a life member of DAV, Disabled American Veterans Organization. I'm not members of the other, you know, American Legion or AMVETS or none of those. They've asked me to join, but I'm going to stick with just the DAV, I think.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Influence it which way, negative or positively?
Anyway, either one.
It influenced me greatly that serving my country, our country is in need of many people to serve. And it influenced me that I think I did the right thing by serving my country. If I had to do it over again, I would.
It's a positive thing for young people.
Very positive for myself as well as young people, and I think more of them should join. Yes. I don't see any negative aspects of the military. I'm sure that there's some, but I had a good experience in the military. Good experience.
In serving?
Yeah.
What about your thinking about war?
My thinking about war is that we are upon times where there's war and there will be wars. But should I'm involved, I would gladly serve. And I don't have any one-way opinion about we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. Because there are higher ups that would know more about that than for me to make that assessment without knowing all the fine mechanisms as to why it is or isn't.
Do you attend any reunions ever? I know you said you don't.
No. I see advertisements, excuse me a minute. I see advertisements for saying that our ship and our whatever.
Does that sound like yours?
It certainly is. Yeah. I don't know. I must have hit something in the pocket.
I do that.
Right now. Oh.
You see notices for reunions?
Yeah,
Notifications?
I see those occasional notices, but there are a time where I can't come to those things. In Las Vegas, there's a reunion for my ship, one of my ships, and there were another place for another, and it conflicted with something else that I had going at the time to join those reunions. But I've often thought about it. I know that it's a good thing to reunite and talk about old times with some of the sailors and Marines that I've served with. Yeah. But I've not been able to do that yet.
Ben, is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in the interview?
I don't think so. It's enlightening to have this, to have you. Yeah, it is. I would. It's enlightening to have you here to interview me. I thank you very much. I think it's a worthwhile thing to be involved in with what we've done in the service, to talk about it, or to even be able to come upon it. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, you did your time, that's what you was expected to do. But a lot of people have not given a lot of I guess respect, maybe it is a bad word, but a lot of credence to what we've done. Men and women, a lot of things that women have done to assist us, both on the line, on the field, and beforehand. I worked with a lot of nurses that was much older, but was willing and have been willing to talk about how they welded. I said, what? You know how to weld? Of course, we weld ships and airplanes for the World War II people. And in one of my DAV magazines, they showed where there was a Dr. Walker that's got the Congressional Medal of Honor. You know what that is?
I have a sense of what it is.
Congressional Medal of Honor is the highest decoration you can get. And this woman got it in 1925 or some, I can't remember the dates. Then they retracted it, took it away from her. And then after a lengthy period, I'm not quoting this correctly, but it's in my DAV book. After a while, they reinstated it, and then they awarded one or two other women the Congressional Medal of Honor. Congressional Medal of Honor is some things that you've gone beyond the call of duty. Audie Murphy, if you see the movie From Hale to Eternity, you see him run out and over and jump up on that tank, pull some guys out, and they said, do you know that thing will blow up? And he got in there and he got back, and it did blow up on his way back, but he told the guy, I said, yeah, I know, give me my Thompson submachine gun. I knew Mr. Murphy's wife, Pam. I knew her, worked with her out in California. And it's an aura about her that is just second to none. You know, very positive work. She introduced herself to me once because I had a staph infection. I said, well, I'll go back over. She said, oh, no, Dr. DeRock wants to see you. And by the way, my name is Pam Murphy. I said, oh, yeah, I think it's Pam. You might know of my husband, Audie Murphy. I said, oh, God, yeah, I do know of him, you know. And it's a very positive aura about him, about her, centered around him. And I think that a lot of things get lost in the piles sometimes. Children don't know, or many people don't know history. Some of the people that came forth and talk about some things that has happened, they don't know anything about it. You know, so that's one of the things that I just wanted to highlight a little bit of. I may have wandered, but I apologize.
You mentioned some people's sentiment about expecting you to have, when you were in there, to serve your time, do your time. But it's a lot more than that, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Your time.
Yes.
It's a lifelong.
Yes, it is.
In fact, you don't just do your time and step away from
and
it.
Get out. No,
you yourself, you've been affected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your whole future from that point.
Yes.
Who you are.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Mm-hmm. That's very true. It's a lifelong journey to walk circumspectly in the world and try to be virtuously upright, following the religious channels that we've learned to or was taught to. And many people say, well, nobody will see me. Well, somebody sees you. I don't care what you're doing and where you're doing. You see, God see you first, and you see you. You know it's not right, but we do it anyway. Well, I'm going to just steal this. Nobody will see me. Where are you in your head and your heart? Do you really benefit? Is it worth that to steal that?
Is it going to make that big of a difference to you?
No, no. You have any moral conscience or whatever, but some people proclaim not to, but I know different. I've seen some people proclaim to be atheists and all of this stuff, and the first gunshot fired, they tear the deck up, getting on their knees praying. Hmm. Yeah. We just go along to get along in this life, in this journey. We try to make the most of it, working universally, or in unison rather, as a team. That's all we can do. Were you in the service?
I was not.
Okay. All right. You served a vital part in this world, in this universe anyway. You do. Hmm.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
That's the end of this interview as far as what I have, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure's been mine as well.